Hello!
Oh, it's terrible.
Hi! It's stupid. Alright, today we want to talk about brandy. In the family tree of alcohol, brandy is one of the big six in the spirit line. Brandy is distilled from wine or fermented fruit juice. Its name is derived from Brandywigen. Brandywine? Pronunciation pig.
Brandewijn.
Anyways, is the Dutch word for burnt wine. There are several types of brandy, and the key distinction between them is their root ingredient. Let's make a chart. Now, technically, anything that ferments can become brandy. However, there are the main types. There's grape brandy, fruit brandy, pomace brandy, and brandy with an I. The most widely consumed brandy is grape brandy. That's where your cognacs, armagnacs, and most of the popular brandies are categorized. We'll talk about those in different videos. We don't exactly know when or how brandy came into existence. In all likelihood, it was a mistake. It's generally believed that brandy was the result of cost cutting. Wine was extremely popular in the Middle Ages, and back then they didn't have the most efficient transportation. Now, some winemaker, we'll call him Carl, figured he could reduce the water content of his wine, ship the concentrate, and add water to dilute it back into wine once it got to Archduke, what's his name? Somewhere along the line, someone decided to try Carl's concentrate, and they were like, hey guys, this is actually kind of good. So good, in fact, that Carl decided to produce it as its own liquor, and by the 1500s, brandy was one of the most popular spirits in Europe. The process for making brandy has been refined since the days of Carl. I'm not going to go into the specifics of production, but rather I'll explain the top line difference between the fine brandy and the not so fine brandy. Fine brandy is always made in pot stills in small batches. Most are double distilled, meaning they're distilled twice. The more times you distill a juice, the higher the ABV and the lower the flavor content. Not so fine brandy is mass produced through a different process called fractional distillation. This process uses column stills rather than pot stills. Essentially, there's a big machine and someone is standing at the top shoveling in ingredients, and there's another guy at the bottom that's just standing there with a bunch of bottles, and he's just filling them from a constant stream of product. There's not as much play with the subtle notes of texture and flavor with column stills as there is with pot stills. After distillation, all brandy is stored in oak casks for however long the producer sees fit. During storage, the liquid soaks up flavors from the oak and also loses some alcohol content. Now that's what brandy is, so how do you drink it? Like all drinks, you could cut it with Diet Coke and dump it in a big gulp, but just, God, please don't! The best way in most opinions, including ours, is in a snifter, straight, slightly above room temperature. That's how you get the most flavors, the best aromas, and you look like such a badass. You can also enjoy brandy in a mixed drink. A Sidecar or Metropolitan, also known as a Brandy Manhattan, are two of the most famous. Recipes down in the description. As always, we encourage exploration of the fine stuff and the cheap stuff. Do you have a favorite brandy, or have you recently found one that you love? Leave us a note in the comments so we can try it. And remember, it's always better to have a little of the good stuff than a lot of the bad. Always drink responsibly. Prost. Should have a glass. The process for making brandy has been refined since the days of holy. It's fine that you guys are having a party, it's just that we're trying to film something in here.